It's 2038 on the 18th of August, and this is an upload with regard to the trials and tribulations of being a property owner of legislation in a small troubled island like Ireland, where there is ongoing corruption, unfortunately, despite the debt recovery I'm responsible for. So, as I've mentioned, there have been disrespectful behaviours towards my family. My McElligott family have been offended, as has our ancestral farmland in Ardfert and Flynn. So this issue is with regard to the Housing Department and the Agriculture Department and the ongoing retaliatory crimes that are offending the COVID-19 legislation that originated with me. There are individuals disturbing the peace and that are of crimes against the state that are offending my McElligott family and offending the family unit. These people have been disturbing the peace and they're of retaliatory crimes and they're responsible for damages that they haven't resolved. So those people with the intention to cause further denigration while trespassing onto property that I forbid them to be entering, those people that have been putting their name to my professional portfolio without my permission or without my consent, these people have not adhered to the law. They have disrespected the wealth that I recovered in my humanitarian endeavour between 2017, 2018 and 2019. That all originated in the southwest of Ireland. This issue that I'm raising is for the intention of the Housing Minister. You've been notified on several occasions since 2019 regarding the denigration I'm tolerating in a one-bedroom apartment that is only for a period of 18 months. Now, besides the fact that my apartment has been intruded upon, broken and entered into without my consent and in my absence, and as well as the conditions of environmental damages being caused also to cause me harm, these matters, unresolved and ignored, are not making people's homes safe that are prospering from the legislation that originated from my credentials of 2003 to the present date, most accurately up to 2014. So the Housing Minister that is aware of the extortion that is also being conducted against me from my wealth, would you ever please have the common courtesy to contact me with regard to the damages your minister's office owes for without exacerbating the weight or the toll or the burden of individuals that are not paying their dues and offending women's professional status in the democracy that we are living in. It's bad enough that women and children's rights are being damaged by ASBOs of land grab that they have not ever owned or have ever had any entitlement to. That's bad enough to be damaging the Women and Children's Rights Charter, but to be disrespecting the democratic rights of a family to support crime and more corruption isn't exactly making people's homes safe where they're living off legislation from me. So those people that are deluded with regard to intellectual property, I would hope the European Union and the mainland of Europe are aware of the unsafe transactions, endeavours and initiatives of a group of people in County Kerry that have not been honouring their dues and have been disrespectful to wealth and prosperity and recovery. So the Minister for Housing and Agriculture in particular, any trespass or farm fraud regarding my property in Ardfert and Kilflynn is highly unsafe. So the Housing Minister, local government heritage, the issue of disturbers and the intrusion and damages to my bodily anatomy and the spiritual violence that's been conducted in this community, the organised crime issue, justice, etc. These matters aren't going away by burying people's heads in sands and playing in a fairy tale, a fallacy, like has been going on in this community for quite a while. There are casualties and repercussions. So anyone that's discussing me, I'm a lone tenant, I'm being stalked and stolen from, and I'm being slandered by people that have no credibility and that are not in credit with any monetary theft or gains from my credentials or portfolio. So European Union parliamentarians, would you please, I implore of you, acknowledge the sincerity and seriousness of all the matters I'm raising in this crime, heinous as it is, where cheap fraud is losing on a very poor streak for the past few years now, since all uncovered as a consequence of my humanitarian endeavour to recover people's wealth as of 2017, that there are no individuals able to take credit for. And those that have jumped onto the COVID-19 bandwagon claiming to be of that legislation, unfortunately haven't had the turmoil of the healthcare providers that have been frauding through my experiences and defaming my good character. So those people that haven't had the experience of what COVID-19 actually means might be safest not discussing COVID-19 legislation with the hurt and the harms that I've experienced from healthcare providers that have been blacklisted for their crimes against the Hippocratic Oath. So those that don't take the oath in earnest might be careful about disrespecting how old and how significant it all is. So as I've mentioned, the Housing Minister, HAPS Minister, Agriculture Minister, or HAPS Office, the HAPS Office, those that are aware that there's crimes occurring against my contributions to society, Irish society, and that are offending my health and well-being, and that are consenting to stalkers being in my proximity illegally with neurosis of slander and compulsions of pathological tendencies to whitewash their failings and shortcomings, are actually scarring and blacklisting themselves in a very dangerous circumstance of identity theft, property theft, and more financial theft from the southwest of Ireland. So the relevant ministers, if you wouldn't kindly addressing the damages that are to be repaired, that would be helpful. And any negotiation or discussion by any individuals regarding property I own, that's a criminal offence, and that's all punishable. So it's another episode of Sad Sign of the Times by individuals in Southwest Ireland speaking out of place about matters they have no ownership or entitlement to. Sad sign of the times.